Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm so excited. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Everyone, welcome to episode 3. This is my
Welcome.
amazing friend, Kari.
Hi.
She actually, honestly, you were one of my biggest supporters in doing the podcast.
No, she's been wanting to do this podcast for like 2 years or longer.
I think longer.
And she talked about it all the time. I'm really happy.
And I remember, I think maybe it was your birthday party. You were like, okay, bitch, like, we're
It's
not joking
time.
around anymore. You're doing the podcast, or like, I'm going to be
Well,
your
you guys,
ass.
it's hard because there are so many like people in the modeling industry who are protective of their names and don't want you to be saying what's actually going on.
Yeah.
So that's why this podcast is very much needed, because 100%. People should know what's going on behind the scenes.
We're going to tell you what's going on behind the scenes. So this is Kari. When did we meet? Do you remember?
I think we met in 2018. We met on a job, I think, in Huntington Beach.
Yes, and we drove back together.
I didn't have a car, and Courtney took me home in her little car. It was like a 2-door.
Yes, I still have the same car, my little Honda.
Yeah, so cute.
She's still kicking.
So cute. And it was like an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of yapping.
Of yapping. Actually, I almost wore a Colorado shirt today. Kari's from Colorado. I almost had to represent, but
oh, that would have been cute. Yeah, it was a long drive. I remember it was a swim client.
Yes.
And usually on modeling jobs, when you work with someone, you kind of trauma bond.
100%.
In a way, especially if the client, I mean, if it's a good client, maybe not so much, but a lot of times you trauma bond even just from like the tiring like work.
Hours.
Yeah, the hours. Exactly.
So we had a lot to yap about, and we just hit it off because
Yeah.
Kari is an angel, if you can't tell
as are
from
you.
her presence. So do you want to give us a little spiel about how you got started?
Ooh, in modeling?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, backstory time.
Because you started like pretty young, right?
Yeah, so the first time that I did a photo shoot, I was 11.
Oh my God.
What happened was I was in Colorado, and a former model, aspiring photographer, approached my mom at the pool and was like, oh, your daughter, like in a non-creepy way. She was like, I'm not trying to be creepy, but your daughter's really beautiful and tall, and I'm a photographer. I'd love to photograph her. I was like, yes, because I've always been like a princess. My mom put me in everything. I didn't stick with anything. No like instruments, no sports. I was like, I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, that was me too.
Yeah, I was like, no.
It's not for me.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, yeah, let's do it. It's super awkward. Like I'm so
11 is like,
awkward.
that's crazy. You definitely
It's
are
awkward.
not feeling.
I did not know my body.
Yeah.
You know, like I was like there was like a picture of me posing near a tree, and on my hand I'm like anyway, she submitted them to the most popular agency in Colorado, which is Donna Baldwin. Shout out.
What city did you live in, by the way?
Denver.
Okay.
And they said, you know, it's an awkward age for her, like, you know, come back in a couple of years.
Aww.
So I never stopped talking about it. I never stopped getting scouted by those like weird companies. They just wanted to take your money.
Yeah, 100%. They like come with their little cards and like
they want to take your money, and they just they're like, oh, you have to pay for these modeling classes, etc. My mom was like, those are a scam. Let's, you know, submit back to this agency. Yeah. So we go back when I'm 14, and they're like, yeah, like we're gonna sign her. So excited. They signed me at 14. I am doing my first modeling jobs, doing like runway and like just stuff in Colorado, not like the coolest things, but it's Colorado.
Well, so like when you're getting started, it's like it's cool to do anything. You're like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like,
I
I'm
loved
in the big
it.
leagues. Like I'm on the runway.
Of
you're like
course.
in the mall doing a runway show, but it's like you feel like you're starting out.
You're
you know?
big time.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, doing test shoots at 15. My agents that were at Donna Baldwin had also like a management company called Revolution Management at the time.
That's kind of a sick name.
It was cool.
Yeah.
And it was 2 people, Diana and Mark, shout out, they're amazing.
Hey.
And they would always bring people from other agencies to the agency to meet us, whether they're from London or Asia or New York or LA. So then, you know, they submitted me to a lot of agencies, and I signed a contract to go to Japan.
Oh, wow.
And literally like days after I turned 16, I was off, and I went to Japan by myself for 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
That was a very interesting experience. I wish that I like got more out of it, but I was young.
You're so young. 16
I didn't
is
even
crazy.
eat sushi, so that's a loss.
Yeah.
You get off the plane and you have like a list of a paper that they printed out for you.
This is pre-internet, guys.
Yeah, this is like, yeah. So they print out a paper for you that tells you like where to go and what to do. So I somehow get to this kiosk where I'm supposed to be buying a bus ticket.
Oh my gosh.
And I have to like ask people. Luckily, people in Japan are extremely helpful and really nice. And someone buys a bus ticket for me and puts me on the bus, and they're like, do this. And they tell the bus driver, make her get off at this stop. Like, that's basically how it is. Mind you, also, days before
oh no,
my trip, I like sprained my ankle. I was in high school, so I was like going to parties.
Yeah.
And
you were at a rager and sprained your ankle before you went to Japan.
I showed up in a boot.
Oh no.
But we didn't tell them.
Oh no.
So after my long travel to Asia, this is my first time leaving the country. I show up, I get the bus ticket, I go. In Japan, they drive you around everywhere. So you have like a booker who drives all the models. So they pick me up. But it's a normal work day for them. So the van is already full of models doing castings. My first impression is like, I limp over in a boot. Oh, I limp over in a boot. And these girls are all staring at. They're all from like Russia and like other countries, and they're just like, "Who the fuck is this?"
Were you the only American?
Yeah, for some time. Eventually, another girl came in from like Iowa or something. But yeah, it was girls from like Australia, Europe, Russia. It was really.
Were you all living together?
I had my own apartment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was small.
Okay.
It was like a little studio with like a hot plate, basically, for my kitchen. But it was really cool. Like, I got to live by myself, and I think it helped me grow a lot. So fast forward.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt your.
No, you're good.
Okay, so you limp up to the bus, and the girls are like.
Oh yeah, sorry. I limp up to the bus. It was very intimidating. Like, I was not as confident as I am now. Obviously, I was still growing and learning, but it was a great experience. I ended up, doing a lot of bridal there.
You do a lot of bridal in general.
I do a lot. I've always done
You're
bridal.
A bride.
I've been a bride since I was like 16. I don't know, something about my face.
I think you look romantic. You look inviting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Also, you're tall. Carrie is so tall. How tall are you?
You're the same height as me.
No, I think you're taller than me.
It's just her
Maybe
arms.
I'm shrinking. Yeah.
No, Courtney has. I'm just gonna. We need to pause this conversation because there is something genetically like mutated.
Literally, it did. I have a 6'2" wingspan and I'm 5'9". So
okay, yeah, I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
Maybe a tiny bit over. Yeah.
And were you like, what age did you reach that height?
Oh, I was tall. Like in middle school, I was taller than all the boys towering. I was like 5'8" when I was in 7th grade. And then it just kind of like slowly got there.
Okay, so what was your like overall, if you had to wrap up your Japanese experience, like was it a positive experience, negative? What was the best? What was it bad? Like worst about it?
It was a positive experience. I think
good.
It was just a coming of age moment. It was the first time I was going out to bars at 16 and clubbing and promoters. And it was really my first like touch of what the industry is.
Yeah.
It was very effective in my career because in Japan, they really put pressure on your posing. When you go to a casting in Japan, they put you in front of everyone. All the girls are standing there and they make you do posing and they want you to pose really fast. And if you didn't do a good job, the agency would take you back to the agency and they would sit you in this little room and they'd put in a VCR tape and it would be people, old like videos of like in the 80s teaching you how to pose.
Wow.
So moving forward in my life, I do get complimented a lot on sets because people are like, every shot is good. You're so good at your posing. And it's like, well, I feel like I was trained at a young age. So it was beneficial for me as a model. And I think that it really gave me a little bit of grit as well because
100%.
they are, they weren't always so nice.
Yeah. Also, that's interesting. I've never heard of agencies like kind of giving you like training. I think it's nice. I mean, if they were nice about it, but it's nice to kind of like be given a foundation.
Yes.
Because I feel like in America, like my experience, I was just like thrown to the wolves. Like,
oh yeah,
no one was telling you how to do stuff. So it's kind of like, it's nice to have some
in
training.
Japan, they're very like I don't know the right word, but they're very like organized in that way.
Like regimen.
Yeah. I mean, and it had a negative effect on some people. Like this didn't happen to me, but there was like certain girls who they would like weigh every day. So this is back in, mind you, 2012 maybe. So it was a while ago. Things have changed. Oh my God, 2012. That's so embarrassing. I think I just aged myself.
Me and Kylie did the same thing on our episode. I was like, when we met in 2013, 10 years ago, and I was like, oh.
So anyway.
So how did you get from there to here? Like, what was your trajectory like after Japan? Did you go back to school? Did you?
Okay, so after that, I did that in the summers. So I would go to school, during the school year. Another time I left was to Athens. I lived in Athens for a few months. Did kind of a similar routine there. Definitely different.
How is it different?
You kind of had to figure things out on your own. In Japan, you had to take the metro and get to the agency every day, and they drove you to the castings.
So that was an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Someone was taking
and at the castings, the booker would speak on your behalf in Japanese. So he would say like, this is Kari. She's from America. She's very cute. She's really talented. Like they sell you.
Yeah.
So in Athens, you had to figure out your way. And at that time, I was getting like 7 castings a day. It's summertime in Athens, so it's hot.
Yeah.
You're sweating. The whole country is like hills. So you're taking the metro, you're taking the bus, you're figuring it out. You show up like to the castings just like drenched in sweat. Like it was like, it was a different experience. But I did meet lifelong friends there, which is really awesome. After that, I went back to Colorado and I decided to go to college for a bit. That didn't last because, what happened was I was getting direct booked to places like South America. And if you miss a certain amount of days in university, they start to knock your grade down. And for me, it was kind of like, okay, like that's always going to be there, but this is cool. Like I'm traveling, which is something I would have never had the opportunity to do considering my family's financial, situation. Yeah. So for me, it was just, I don't know, I'm a Sagittarius moon. Like I needed to get out
I need to
there.
try this out.
Like I needed to do it. And it was just it was a dream of mine. Yeah. So I take classes here and there to try to like slowly finish my degree. But, at the moment I love like being creative and doing art. So
well, also like you said, I think that happens for a lot of us. Like you're presented with this opportunity that you're like, when would I ever get this chance again? Especially for a lot of us that are from smaller places and our families can't afford for us to go to Greece and to Japan. Like how else would you have done that? So
absolutely.
You kind of just have to like weigh out what do I want in this life? Like, do I want to go experience things?
You miss all the shots you don't take.
Exactly. Okay, so then how did you end up in LA?
Oh,
or when did you come to LA?
Yeah, so LA was 2017 or 18. I can't really remember. I signed with LA Models, same situation. Like an agent came to Colorado, met some girls, liked me. I went out for a couple of months, same type of trip. Yeah. And oh my God, I fell in love. Like, let me tell you guys, my first day in LA, I'm 19 or something. And I arrive, I meet my roommate, Aga, and we hit it off. We're just like having the best day ever. It's my first day. Then she's like, okay, like my friend is staying at this guy's house. He's a promoter, but he's super cool. Let's go. So we go. This is my first day still. So we go and we're at his house and he's like, what are you girls doing tonight? It's Kendrick Lamar's birthday. We're going to One Oak. And I was like,
pause. For those of you who don't know,
yes,
a promoter is like works for a club and basically gets paid to like bring people, usually
hot
beautiful
people.
Girls to events, tables, parties, whatever, so that men want to spend money at that place. Essentially, that's basically what a promoter is. So
that's good. That was good that we needed that.
Yeah.
Mind you though, like most of them are sleazy, but this particular promoter is really nice and we're still friends to this day. So he's like, it's Kendrick Lamar's birthday.
Were you freaking out?
Do you guys want to come? And we were like, yeah. Well, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. So we first have dinner at a place called Koi, which is like a very high-end restaurant. You know Koi.
Yep.
We're sitting there. It's a big table. I'm thinking to myself, like, they're ordering a lot of food. Like,
how am I gonna pay for
this?
I
can't pay for this. Like, you know, and the promoter, he's like, oh, don't worry about it, whatever. And I'm like, oh. So I was like, wait, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, like
free dinner.
Like that was like, it felt like special treatment. I'll
Yeah.
never forget like who was sitting at that big table and like how cool I thought they were.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get to One Oak. We're at the club. This is the Humble era. Like Humble had come out. It's popping.
Yeah.
He performs Humble. We're this close. We're this close. Like I have videos of like we're this close, and Lana Del Rey is right there singing along. I was like, okay, I love it here.
Yeah. You're like, I'm moving forever.
Yeah. So I have a great summer.
Yeah.
New best friends. I have great connections. My 2 months ends. I go home. I end up coming back, and every time I come back, I'm like, I just want to stay here.
Yeah.
Then I end up
in
a promoter apartment.
Oh my God. Yes. I'm so happy. I was going to ask you about this. Okay. Give us the tea.
There are some things that we need to know first.
Yes. We need some vocabulary.
Yes. Some vocab lesson. Model apartment. A model apartment is run by a modeling agency.
We talked about this in the last episode.
Okay, so if you heard the last episode, you know the tea. That's where I stayed in Japan and Greece and in LA for the first time I came. But they kind of rob you. I'm sure
100%.
you covered that.
Yes.
So anyway, my other option is I'm friends with this promoter, whatever. He's like, I have a promoter apartment, separate thing. A promoter apartment is an apartment that the promoter pays for, and they house models basically for free. The catch is your way of paying rent is that you go out 3 times a week. So you go to the club 3 times a week for 2 hours each night. Or if you want to get dinner with them before and have a free dinner, which is what I did because I was broke.
Of course.
You can do that. So you don't have to drink. You're not forced to do anything, like whatever. For me, I had a rent in Colorado that I was paying with an ex that I was living with. So I was like, okay, this is great. I'm going out anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm young and I'm having fun. That's what I want to do. It was like the easiest rent ever. I was lucky with my situation. I met a majority of my good friends there in that apartment. So I stayed there for as long as I needed. And then I was basically like still dating this ex back home, but every time I'd go to Colorado, I would like bring an empty bag and like fill it up and like go back. Cause I was like,
I'm gonna end up there.
I didn't like ever have I'm moving to LA. It just kind of, I was working a lot and it just kind of flowed naturally. And I think that was my sign that it was meant to be because it just was so easy for me. Yeah. And then I eventually got my own place and I was out of that world. Thank God I grew up.
I can't imagine. Like, I think most girls, when they come here, you end up doing the promoter thing, the dinner thing, the going out thing. And it's fun. It can be fun, but it's also like exhausting. And I can't imagine having to go out like 3 times a week. Like, if you said no, what happened? Like, could you say no? Did you ever say no?
Yeah. He was understanding. Like, if you were working the next day, like he got it. And I was working a lot.
Yeah. Cause like what hours did you have to go out?
So it would be midnight to 2 a.m. Ooh, like we're in LA. So it's like the club closes at 2. Yeah. And it would, sometimes we'd be sleeping until like we would sleep until like 11:30 and then we'd like wake up and we'd like put on makeup and we'd go.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we were really boring. Sometimes we'd have fun.
Yeah.
But
and did you always go to the same place?
Same places. So Tuesday is Avenue.
Ooh.
Wednesday is Warwick.
Closed. Still
Thursday
open.
is One Oak.
Closed.
Friday is Avenue.
Closed.
Saturday is One Oak.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so you had to pick 3. You have to go to all those? You pick 3?
You pick 3, except for if you are under 21, you can't do Warwick Wednesdays because they're super strict on IDs. But everywhere else, you could use a Dave & Buster's card to get in. So
that's a crazy thing too. Like for people that don't have experience with this type of world, like you don't have to be 21. I started coming here and I was 18, whatever. Yeah. Like if you're with a promoter, you just get taken through the back door and like you're in there. Like no one's.
There's like a camera that is like making sure the security is checking the IDs, but the security is just going
right
like this. Like you.
Yeah.
I mean, I already had fake IDs that I ordered in high school, which my mom knew about, so it was fine.
Yeah. I never had a fake, actually. The first time I ever went out here, I wonder if Kylie and I talked about this. It was me and Kylie. We lived together, blah, blah, same thing, model apartment. And this promoter took us out, and they gave, like, the guy, I think it was one of the promoters, had a stack of fake IDs. And as we're, like, coming out of the car, they're like, oh, that kind of looks like you. Like,
yes.
hand you an ID. Like, yeah. And you just...
They collect them.
Yeah.
After I turned 21, I gave mine to the promoters.
Like,
I said, you guys can use this. Yeah. No, I mean, the IDs were so easy to get. Like, in high school, I found a website called idgod.com. I don't know if it's still called shout out. I don't know if it's still called that. But anyway, you go to their website. The easiest to fake was South Carolina.
Interesting.
And the deal was like $150 for 2 IDs. It has your picture and your signature on it.
Oh, wow. So it's like pretty legit.
Great deal. So I was like, if you order them in bulk, like if you get like 6 of them or 10 of them, the price goes down to like 60 for 2. I was like, that's a great idea. Started rallying up people in my high school who wanted fake IDs. And I was still telling
fake ID business.
I told them that they were still like $100 or $150. Like I was cashing out.
People that went to high school with you are going to listen to this and be like,
sorry, you got hustled.
You got
you know what? It's still a good deal though.
Yeah,
they
100%.
still got 2 IDs and they worked. They scanned.
Amazing. Okay, so you moved into your own apartment, and were you still like, I feel like you've always been very involved in the social aspects and the social scene of LA.
I got more grandma-ish.
Yeah.
Like I definitely don't. I think when I got my own apartment, I slowly started to like leave the scene a bit because I was just exhausted from it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I still do like to go out, but I'm so particular. Birthdays and events, or if my girlfriend is DJing now, but she does it sober. Like whenever Laura DJs, we just do it sober and like consider it as it's like a job. Her boyfriend is also a DJ.
We're DJ wags.
Wait, oh my god, we're officially both DJ wags.
We're gonna get into that. Before we go there, I just want to know if you have what's your craziest LA nightlife story?
We definitely ended up at celebrity houses a lot.
Yeah.
Tyga, The Weeknd, they throw after parties. They all like take your phones away when you enter the house. That's a very
or sticker your phone.
Or
That's
sticker.
a big thing too.
Most of them take them.
Yeah,
they're like no phones. Those were always crazy times.
It's also just interesting, like when you go out in LA, like you kind of never know where you're gonna end up or who you're gonna be with, and then you're like. You're pulling up to some mansion and you're like, whose house are we at?
This? Like, there's always a weird after party. Yeah. I will say that, okay, some funny things are with promoters. A lot of times they bring along a rich, old, weird guy. Okay.
Oh yeah. Wait, are we talking about hoe trips right now?
We could get to hoe trips.
Another vocabulary word.
First, quick little something else, and then we'll get to hoe trips.
Okay.
So, image jobs. Come on, we're classy.
Sorry, that's a classy word. Image jobs.
So so they bring out these rich guys because they're paying for everything, and in return they get to hang out with hot girls.
That's the trade.
That's the trade. Okay, it's not a pimping situation. We're not escorts. Yeah, but like for me particularly with the promoter that I had a friend group with, like that was not his incentive ever, and it all felt totally normal, even though it's not normal.
But it feels safe. It doesn't feel like you're getting sex trafficked or something.
I think it depends on also who you're not.
100%.
It depends on who you are as a person as well. Like, can you hold yourself and whatever. So
and what you want to do, because there are people who
might be down.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not one of them. So, but what I was down for was making a little money in a different smart way, which is what we did. My friend and I, we were roommates at the time. A good example of this is there was one particular rich guy that would go out. He was so stupid, honestly. And I'll tell you his name later.
Confidential.
So we would go out and we'd be at the table. And we would be like, oh, we really want to hear the DJ play this song. Like, and he'd be like, here's $100. Go give it to the DJ and tell him to play your song. We're like, oh, you're the best. Thank you so much. And we would go to the DJ and we would just talk to him. We wouldn't request anything.
Yeah.
We'd pocket the $100. And then whatever song played next, we were like, oh my God, this is our song. And we did it over and over. And then we would use the money to literally like buy food because we were poor. So there was like a lot of that. And there was also some particular guys that would go out and they would just like throw around cash. Like they'd be like, whoever wins this race, like both of you race and like you get $100. Like we were always down.
Yeah, you're like, why not?
We were young. We were just like trying to pay for 100%. Life.
Yeah.
So those were fun.
Wow. I love that. Yeah, it's also like at the time, although that is not sinister, but in a way it's like someone's always getting something out of it, even though, again, we were not the type of people who were doing the extra things, which if you are, no shade, no tea, but like we were not. But when I do look back, I'm still like, it was still an exchange of some kind, you know? It's like an exchange of energy. I didn't always enjoy going out, but sometimes, like you said, for the dinners, like I would literally just go out because I'm like, I get a free dinner tonight. Like you're broke, you're young. And also it
was to eat, literally. Yeah. We're like, we're trying to put food on the table.
And also just being around weird men, even if nothing's happening to you, it's just like seedy energy. And like,
and you're there to just like, honestly, like what they get out of it is like, it's for their ego.
Yeah, 100%.
It's for their ego, you know? And like, if you're smart about it, and if you are a young model and you're listening to this, I just would like to give you a piece of advice. And it's just like, your head is a swivel. Like, never stop observing your surroundings. Never get to a point where you're unable to observe them. And you know what? Like, play the game, because I just didn't allow myself to be a pawn. Like, we knew what was going on. And that's why we were like, okay, so we'll take your money. And I'm totally fine, like laughing and smiling and drinking with everyone. But at the end of the day, like, you have to prioritize what you're going to get out of the situation.
100%.
Because like Courtney said, it's an exchange. So like, what are you willing to give and what do you want from it?
Yeah. And also setting boundaries, like knowing what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with, and standing up for yourself, and also surrounding yourself with people who you can trust. Because like I have a friend that's a promoter who I always trusted and never knew that nothing was ever going to happen to me, and that he always had my back, and like it was never, nothing weird was ever going to happen, which you can't say about every promoter. And there have been situations that I've been in, or other girls I know that have been in, where they are with shady people who drug them or put them in bad situations. So if you're a young person who's just kind of getting into the scene, or even if you're older, just like set boundaries and always take care of yourself and be with people you trust.
Yeah, absolutely. Or I know this might seem like maybe out of some people's comfort zone, but if you see a promoter that's like messaging you and you're like, do I want to go out? Like, look at who they have pictures posted with or who they're following, and feel free to message other models. A majority of girls who are older who know them will give you the right advice and let you know what that promoter is all about.
Yeah.
So just, you know,
hit us up.
Yeah, hit us up. I'm fine answering those questions.
100%.
I can tell you who's who.
Okay, we're going to change lanes a little bit from this topic, and we're going to get into your recent rebrand of basically your entire life. And like, I would say your online image, kind of like I would say a lot of girls, our content is, when you start modeling or whatever, it's very like geared towards the male gaze. And I feel like recently you've done a big shift in making your content. Well, you came out.
Yes.
First and foremost. And your content is now, I feel like, more about you as a real individual and your relationship and all that stuff. So what kind of like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did you decide you wanted to like shift content, or was it just something that came naturally with like?
Yeah, I think it came naturally. I will say, in order for me to like fully give the picture, I'm going to go back a bit. When I moved to LA, I had 11K followers, which was kind of a big deal from where 100%. I was from at the time. When I came here, though, I noticed girls had 50K, 80K, which at the time was like, wow, I felt small.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to grow. So the way that I grew my following was, obviously I was shooting with people, but it was the bikini pics. It was the sexy pictures. I was like, I post this. Engagement. And at the time, you guys, like, Instagram was like TikTok. Like, you could get 10K followers overnight.
Yeah.
And a majority of my following, like, that's what it was. And unfortunately, that came with the audience of men who were interested in that one thing.
Yep.
moving forward, I started a TikTok, and TikTok was the one place that I was truly able to just kind of like put forth my personality. I noticed that when I posted something sexy or pretty, like it didn't do well. Yeah. No one gave a shit. Yeah. And I was like, wait, I love that. You know, this is really cool. And I had been dating my partner, Laura, for 2 years before I decided to post about her and I on TikTok. And when we did post, we had a really amazing response. People were really impacted by our relationship, and it was really heartwarming to see the messages come in about that. And for us, it felt really important because my girlfriend, she's Arab, she's from Lebanon, and where she's from, it's really looked down upon to be gay. And so with her getting messages from Arab girls who are closeted and really, really, really looked up to her, it was motivating for us to continue. So at that point, you know, a lot of my content did become us, because not only did we feel a purpose from it, it just felt so authentic. And on that topic, I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, that when you start creating art authentically, you naturally become successful. Yeah. So with that, it is authentic to us, and everything just started to grow even more because we were being authentic to ourselves. And I think that goes for whatever career you are in. And yeah, it's just, honestly, it's such a blessing. I love being able to work with Laura now and be able to do brand deals with companies that support my community and genuinely care about having, you know, queer representation. And I like to be that representation. I still am in awe when I get messages from girls saying that I inspired them to come out or anything along those lines. It genuinely like makes me feel so happy inside.
It's so much better than getting a man being like, oh
yeah, I'm tired of getting poetry from weird body. Guys.
Like, yeah, it doesn't do anything for you.
So yeah, it's so not okay. So I will say that my online persona is the closest to real life it's ever been. Yeah. And I'm saying it like that because nobody's 100%. Image online is actually like the complete picture. Yeah. But now that I'm also doing YouTube, they're getting a lot more of my life. I think my fans on YouTube really know me well. Like, I feel like a special bond with them.
100%. I love them. It's such a different level of intimacy, like especially vlogging, because you're just showing so much more of 100%. Like just it's not a 6-second clip. It's an hour, it's whatever.
Yeah. And honestly, every time I post a picture of me and Laura on Instagram, it's really interesting what happens. I get the most likes on those photos, but I lose followers on the days that I post it. So it's a good thing. I'm happy about it because I can tell that the people who are unfollowing me are from that weird men, chunk
from that era.
And like, it's kind of balancing out. Like I kind of like lose and gain followers the same amount, but I feel like it's cleansing 100%. Cleansing my page.
Yeah. I was going to say, did you have any fear or like when you were, I know you didn't like, it wasn't completely like a conscious, like I'm going to start posting this. It just kind of happened naturally, but did you have any fears of like, how is this going to affect my career or like, my social media following?
I will say something about myself is that I feel like I've always been kind of fearless in the sense of I'll always be myself. Yeah. Even when it came to like traveling to Japan or going to Colombia, like I was never scared. I think I'm lucky that I didn't get into any sticky situations by being so fearless. And regarding my sexuality, I kind of believe that how you personally feel or think about something is how it will play out. So I just had positive thoughts about it. I was like, this is cool because I was like, I'm getting more followers. Like I'm attracting brands that are interested in the representation. I think we're in it's the right time, like I'm lucky that it's now and not in a time where people were more conservative about those kinds of things. Yeah. And I kind of needed to be positive and okay about it because my girlfriend is coming from a background where she, hid her sexuality from her family and publicly online for a very long time. Yeah. So I kind of needed to be that positive, confident person regarding it because I also was with her for 2 years and I was like, I want to share this. Yeah. Like I want to, like, I love you. We've been together. Like I need I want people to know. Yeah. Like I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
And I think it was really helpful for her as well, and her just her perception of self.
I love that. Also, Kari's a huge romantic, so she couldn't keep the romance off of her.
No, I literally couldn't. I am such a simp. I can't help it. Oh my God.
What has it been like dating? Is this your first time dating someone who's in the same industry as you?
Oh, no. Well, a model, yes. I've never dated a male model. Like, I dated, so preface.
Hey.
Oh, okay, that was a direct jab. Okay, I did date men before my girlfriend. Unfortunately, yeah. But never a male. Oh, that's a lie. I just lied. Okay, so no. So my first boyfriend in high school had nothing to do with it. My second one, photographer. The one after that would have been, well, I guess they weren't official boyfriends, but I dated actor, model, nightlife.
Oh, wow. You went through the full regalia.
Another photographer, and then my girlfriend, Laura.
What has it been like dating someone in the same industry as you? I know kind of you have before, but is it positive? Is it good? Like, do you feel like you guys have a mutual understanding?
When we first started dating, I was newly queer. So for me, in a straight mentality, girls can be competition.
Yeah.
Right? And it comes to a weird place when you're also dating a girl and you're kind of like, I would catch myself being like, well, she booked this job and I didn't. And I would get jealous. And why would I get jealous? You know, it's like I should be happy, but there's like something in me that's like, I want to be working, like, you know, that certain feeling, or she got booked for bigger brands than me or whatever happened. And that has obviously evolved immensely. I think it just had to do with me kind of accepting my queerness and like understanding like those roles. And additionally, after we moved in together and started creating videos together and making money together, you start to realize, oh my God, no, like I need to lift you up because you lift me up and we lift each other up. And it's just like,
we're a team.
We're against a team. Each other. Yeah. And that just came with, I think, maturing a bit
100%.
And our relationship evolving from a more, you know, a new relationship to like a really strong, like forever relationship.
Yeah.
And now I say it's like the best thing in the world because Laura is, she pushes me to grow so much, and she every time like something comes in for her, whether it's like a gifting or a job, she pitches me and she wants me to make more money, and we're in the same household, so it all goes back to us, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been great in the way because I have a partner who really wants to see me succeed as much as them. So yeah, I think it's been such a blessing, and I'm really, really, really lucky to have somebody that I work well with.
Yeah.
And our business is our pleasure. So it's, you know, it's maybe rare. I don't know. What is your experience with that, Courtney?
Dating a model?
I know you dated a model as well for a long time prior to this DJ girlfriend life.
I think it was good in the sense that, like we had an understanding of the same industry. Like I haven't really dated, I guess now I'm dating someone who's not in my same industry, but he's also an artist or a creative. So like he still gets it to an extent. But I think,
he's not like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So.
But I think dating someone who's in your exact same industry comes with that just level of understanding of like what it's like, what the hours are like. Even I'm sure people who have partners that are not in these industries maybe there would be a lot of jealousy, I would assume, and judgment about like having to shoot with other men or like whatever. So we never, I'm sure. Yeah. We never experienced that, which was good. If you're watching this and you see a little change in the lighting, just know we had to make some adjustments, but we're back.
We are women in STEM and we made a solution
as women do.
As we do. Yes.
Okay. I feel like we're kind of coming to a close.
Yes.
We've yapped quite a lot, but I have some like finishing questions for you.
Okay.
Which are kind of just like the overall like arching theme of this podcast that I kind of want to ask everyone. What do you think is the biggest misconception in your opinion about modeling?
This might be controversial. Is that how you say it?
Controversial.
We're not stupid.
Imagine we're like,
oh my God.
The biggest misconception is that we're not stupid.
How did you say that? No, that is not what I was going to say. Is that modeling is easy and glamorous, which it can be, but it is challenging in its own ways. I will say that, yes, it is one of the most incredible jobs to have. I'm very lucky, and it is really an easy job, especially for the amount of money that you make. But that you can make, but it does take its toll on you. It's a very mental and emotional job as well as physical. You don't realize it, but I mean, when you're shooting a few days a week, you're wearing heels for 10-hour days. Imagine changing, and then imagine changing 100 more times in a row, and having people touch you all day and posing in front of the camera and going through something mentally and emotionally in your personal life, but you have to put on a face like, you know, rejection, criticisms of your body, and, you know, the competition and the hustle and the instability of payments and never knowing. It
takes a toll.
It's a toll, like, and it's not for the weak-minded. And I think that that's a big misconception, is that it's easy.
I think that you are such a good example of someone who does a good job of like being mentally strong and being positive. Every time I've worked with you and just been around you, you're just a very positive person. But I remember when we did that shoot in Catalina.
Oh my gosh, that was our biggest trauma bonding moment.
Literally. But you were just you come to set and you do your fucking job, and you like do it with a smile on your face, and you always have a good energy, and like you're just a hard worker, and you like Kari works some jobs that no one would want to do, and she just fucking does it, and she hustles, and
you have to. I think I always try to make sure that the client is happy.
You do.
And it's really hard. Like behind the scenes, I might be like dying inside, but you know, that's not my job. Like, I'm here to deliver you, like,
I'm here to serve.
Like, that's part of my job is making the clothes or whatever I'm selling look and feel amazing, and that's reflecting on, like, modeling can be acting.
It is. You have to play a character. And also, like you just said, I think honestly, I've heard horror stories of girls that are like divas on set and like don't want to do stuff, or don't want to wear stuff, or don't like their makeup, or don't. Obviously it's important for you to feel comfortable, and I'm not saying you should put yourself in a situation where you're not being taken care of or treated with respect, but at the end of the day, we're here to wear what you want me to wear. I'm here to look how you want me to look. And
100%. And I will say that now that I do influencing stuff as well, and I do occasionally get booked for things with my partner as myself, it's really interesting. There's a shift. Like when you get booked as a model, you don't have a say. You are however they want. They don't care how you feel, and that's it. You kind of just shut your mouth and you do the job. But we've had a few jobs where they booked us as a couple, as influencers, and they're like, do you like your outfit? Do you like your makeup? Do you want us to change anything?
You're like, me?
Are you okay? It's so funny to watch or feel the shift and like experience it after modeling for like over a decade.
It's so interesting to jinx. It's interesting to date someone who's in a different industry now, and to see the way talent is treated in music versus talent treated in modeling. Like, and it's taken a while for him to get to the point that he's at, obviously, but just in general, like the way talent is looked at in the music industry versus modeling is such a difference. Like, we're not asked what time we want to fly somewhere, where we want to stay, what seat we want, what do we want for food. Like, it's just very much you show up,
they
and
don't really care about you as a model. And it's actually so funny you bring that up, because me and Laura have been talking about that so much, because she's now
DJing,
doing that. It's insane, dude. Like, for a modeling job, it's pretty much they just kind of like throw you to the wolves. Like, it's whatever. And we're like, Laura's like, oh, like, they order her the black cars, they pay for everything, they're taking you to dinner, they're hosting you, they're like giving you everything you need to feel comfortable. And we're like looking at each other and we're like, this might work.
You're like, I might like this.
Exactly.
It's a completely different world. Also, you kind of touched on this earlier, but I feel like you're the perfect person to ask this. What advice do you have for someone who feels like they are kind of making content or having a social persona that doesn't really jive with who they are, like what advice do you have for them to be more authentic and kind of like live their truth?
Yeah, you have to first address why you are people pleasing. I think that's like the number one thing.
Shots fired.
Yeah, because honestly, if you're not feeling like you're authentically putting yourself out there, then you're trying to appease someone. And you have to, first of all, find the root and be like, why do I feel the need to people please? And maybe that requires a therapist. But honestly, it matters because in order for you to kind of attract your tribe, which is like people who have the same interests as you, you need to really put forth authenticity. And another thing that I was talking with a friend about a couple nights ago is that when you put out content, you are the content creator. You are not the consumer. So stop consuming your own content. Stop watching your own stuff and trying to see how people perceive you. That's not your job. Your job is to create it. And even if it's not something that they normally like, then that makes you a tastemaker. People follow you or want to see you because even if it's not their taste, it interests them and they're attracted to it because they can sense the authenticity. Yeah. You know?
100%. It comes across in a different way and people will receive it in a different way if it feels.
That's why I'm so happy you're doing this.
Thanks. Thank you for encouraging me.
It's perfect for Courtney.
Thanks.
Yeah, she's got a lot to say. She's a yapper.
Yeah. If you haven't noticed, I had to go through my episode with Kylie and like cut half the stuff I was saying. I was like, shut up. It's a learning curve.
No, people want to hear you.
Yeah, well, hopefully you guys enjoy. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to see this come together.
Thanks. Hopefully, and we can do a recap episode in like a couple of years and it'll be...
Oh, I would love that.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
We love you so much.
You guys, please follow her and subscribe to all her things. Courtney totally deserves it. And you will feel really special in the future when you're one of the OGs.
Retweet. Also follow Kari. I will be putting all of her stuff in the what is it called? Description. She is on TikTok. She is on YouTube, and she's amazing. So thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.